So Guild Wars 2 has been around for a number of years, and just about every MMO player has played it at some point. And they may have played it for a little bit and then let it go, but now it is 2023 and you are considering playing Guild Wars 2 again. Let me be the first to say, don't. Until you watch this video, wink. Guild Wars 2 has evolved a lot within this past year, the year of 2022. We saw its third expansion get released in End of Dragons. We saw some of the Living World Season 1 or the Scarlet Briar saga that we were previously unable to touch, but now we can touch. I gotta stop using that word, but you get it. Now we have new content that we can play, or for someone like myself who hasn't played that content before, we get a chance at it. And then not even to talk about the Steam release of Guild Wars 2, meaning that we're having a plethora of new players come funneling in almost daily. You may be saying, Caffeinated, what are you talking about? The game is flourishing, the community is growing, there's updates, there's fantastic endgame content. You gotta put down the caffeine. Partially. But before you jump into the ocean of content that Guild Wars 2 has, you gotta understand these few things. First and foremost, ArenaNet does not add content frequently. Not in comparison to some MMOs that have brand new raids, dungeons, endgame content almost on a cyclical time schedule. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Warcraft. Even with their updated roadmap and their seemingly reinvigorated content production schedule, it still comes out sparingly. In comparison to these other MMOs, Guild Wars 2 had a 4.5-year gap between Path of Fire and End of Dragons. And a lot of players actually left because it's repetitive, like I didn't have anything new. Now, before the internet trolls jumped down my throat with, well, they had Living World seasons and there's cool content that was put in there. Yes, that is true. There has been Living World seasons that have come out that have offered new content and basically bridged the gap from one expansion to the next. I will give you that. But they've come out very, very slow, and then even at that, in episodic fashion. Now you may be saying, well, that sucks. I want to play an MMO that has constant updates, that is being given new content that I can play. I don't want to have to wait. I mean, why would I want to play an MMO that is so slow to the punch when it comes to changes? First off, shut up. Second, when ArenaNet finally launches those bits of content, they are goddamn masterpieces. Like the amount of time and effort that is put into the minute details of the story, of the character progression, of the voice acting, there is so much detail within each one of these that it's well worth the wait. I mean, hell, the End of Dragons story was freaking epic. Yeah, it was a little short. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was basically the perfect finish for that particular story. What's even cooler about the Living World stories is that it's not just random things that they put in there and it's like, okay, yeah, just go and do this and that. It actually spreads the story out a little bit more, makes you take longer with it so that you can appreciate it better. And I personally find that a lot more satisfying than just rushing from point A to point B just to say I did it. The story basically makes you immerse yourself as a denizen of Tyria, and I love it, man. What I'm saying is that yes, the content may be coming out fairly slow or not as fast as other MMORPGs, but when they do come out, it is well worth the wait. And they're looking to expand on that. They've already confirmed that another expansion is in the works. There's no release date, and that's okay, but the idea is that they are still continuously working on this game. But honestly, that's not even the most important thing you need to know before starting Guild Wars 2 in 2023. Before we go any further, leave a comment down below of what you love the most about Guild Wars 2. All right, so every single MMO community has a tribe. And what we've been kind of taught is that my tribe is better than your tribe. And your tribe might play a different game, but my tribe is better than yours because I play something different than yours. And we're supposed to be angry at each other. Let me be the first to say to all of you, knock it the hell off. Everyone enjoys playing their games, and they should be entitled to the ones that they like the most. And that's why there's such a market of MMOs out there, because everyone likes something a little bit different. But what you need to know is that Guild Wars 2 community is possibly one of the best in the entire genre, aside from the PvP section.
What about that shadowy place?
That's beyond our borders.
As a fledgling content creator, I just decided randomly to make a video about Guild Wars 2 because I was playing it at the time and I really enjoyed it and I was having fun with it, and the video blew up. And I had so many commenters coming from the game who were like, wow, like, you know, I love that you're so excited about this game. It's one of my favorites. I'm happy to help you in game. You know, like, what's your tag here? Like, let me show you. I was like surrounded by it. I was a little smothered by it. This is important to you because everyone wants to play a game that is growing. Nobody wants to put time into an MMO that is already written off, that people are like, yeah, no, I'm not going to play it because there's 5 people on that server and one of them's name is Chad. We want to be a part of a growing community because we are communal creatures, human beings. Despite us all trying to be edgy and say, no, I don't need anyone, we want to be around other people. We want other people to share in the experiences that we have. And that goes especially for gaming. I mean, hell, last year, everyone was all about Elden Ring. I even played Elden Ring, and I don't play any Souls-like games. And then we had God of War Ragnarok, and then everyone was talking about God of War. Like, there's these events that people enjoy being a part of, and they like sharing it with other people. Guild Wars 2 actually had one of its absolute best years because of End of Dragons and what it was able to bring to the community, on top of a constant, steady stream of new players coming from Steam. And what makes this even better, what makes this community so damn great, is that veteran players who have thousands of hours in the game, are at the beginner zone. They are ready for these new Steam players to show up, to help show them the ropes, like be there to answer questions. What level of Canadian kindness is this? The major point being here is that the Guild Wars 2 community is steadily growing. There's more players trying the game for the first time or coming back to the game now than there has ever been before. And on top of that, it is already expected to grow even more in 2023. But I promise you that isn't even the most important thing to understand before playing the game in 2023. All right, so admittedly, Guild Wars 2 got a pretty bad rap at the beginning of their MMO journey. When they first launched, they were kind of noted as not really having the end game or this fully fleshed out final bosses that you can play against once you've gone through the arduous journey of 80 levels. And that bad rap unfortunately stuck with a lot of players who tried it that first time and said, you know what, they don't have anything for them, and why would I want to spend time there? You know what, I'm gonna go play something else. First impressions matter, and unfortunately Guild Wars 2 hit it well with a lot of people, but they were also in competition with heavy hitters like World of Warcraft. Old school World of Warcraft, which had a loyal fan base. And when you don't stick the landing upon release, it's tough to have people come back and try your game. Look at Cyberpunk 2077. That is the perfect example. Everyone was hyped about this game. It flopped on launch, even though, despite I've heard it's fantastic now, a lot of people don't even really give it the time of day, which, I mean, I don't blame them. But Guild Wars 2 in 2023, now? Shut the damn door at the notion that there isn't enough endgame content for you once you've gotten to level 80. We have raiding, we have strike missions, we have fractals, we have world versus world, we have structured PvP, we have achievement hunting, we have mount competitions. All of this is in this game. And you can get this game for very cheap. And on top of that, raiding was one of the most difficult things to get into in Guild Wars 2. Now you have tons of raid training groups who are constantly taking in new players on top of their emboldened mode, which basically scales it down a little bit so that you can actually get to see the fights. And then the strike missions, which were these single boss events that were labeled as, oh, it's too easy, are now incredibly difficult. You can scale them up to be some of the hardest content in this game. And then you have your high tier fractals that require an arduous journey of getting the right gear to build up to these high intensity fights. And then on top of that, it takes planning, precision, timing, all these different factors to even really get to that level. Structured PvP is ever evolving with all these different builds, all these new ideas that are coming to light and then being literally fleshed out in front of us. And then constantly with the balance changes, making all these old builds that were kind of written off, now they're viable. Now they're a big deal. I mean, World versus World, which was this open wild west of a game mode, is now getting updates where your guild can go and fight another guild, which is really odd now that I'm saying it, in a game called Guild Wars 2. Wow, really? Point is, Guild Wars 2 has grown so much in the past decade that it is completely unrecognizable compared to the game that it was. Now, if you had written Guild Wars 2 off early, now is the time for me to say that your first impressions may be wrong, and you should definitely give it a shot. But I promise you that isn't even the most important thing, but I promise the last one is. Understand, we are getting older. And in gaming, that means that we don't get a lot of time to sit down and game. We have careers, we have families, we have other obligations that we are required to do and that we're happy to do. And of course, that only gets more complex as we age. Playing an MMO is a time commitment. You are trading your time for these experiences and pixels on a screen. And that is even made more stressful when you factor in that there might be a monthly subscription to your game, or you have to pay for these constant updates that come up, because now it's time and money that you are sacrificing. The most important thing to know about Guild Wars 2 in 2023 is that the game shatters those expectations. Guild Wars 2 is notably known for its horizontal progression, meaning that once you achieve something in game, once you have collected this certain thing, this appearance, this mount, it is available regardless. You've earned it. You don't have to earn something new. Carry that over with the gear. If you get an ascended piece of gear, which is the highest possible stats, that is good forever. It will always be the top tier stats. And I feel like a lot of games have you on this constant treadmill where you are going through the new content, there's higher levels, all the time and effort that you put into one game is now out the window because its expansion came out, and you know, the next level, the next area, the zone, what have you, is now 10 levels higher than your stuff, and all this time and effort that you put in is out the window. But that's the beautiful thing about Guild Wars 2 in 2023, is that every minute that you put into the game is working towards something, is giving you the peace of mind that your time and effort isn't always going to be wasted. And even if there's these new expansions, which Guild Wars 2, again, is looking to have another one after End of Dragons, your time and effort in the game right now isn't going to be undercut by this new expansion and this new gear. And then, of course, we have to talk about the monthly subscription. The buy once, play forever method is fantastic. Of course, you're going to have to pay for an expansion. I get that. But the idea that you are able to sit there and play this game for hours and hours on end, as much as you want or as little as you want, but you never have to worry about paying for it again. Cost sunk fallacy is out the window. Now, of course, they do have the gem store, which feels like they come out with new stuff to microtransaction, you know, every week. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having these optional cosmetic things that aren't going to directly impact my character power level, their gear, or anything like that. I like the idea that, oh, I want to look like a snowman, I'm going to look like a snowman. I'm still going to do the same damage as a free-to-play player. I'm still going to do as much damage and healing or be as good at player versus player as this guy over here who's just doing the baseline. I like that idea. That gives me an even playing field. And then for someone like me who only gets a couple of hours a week to actually sit down and play the video game without having to stress about, oh, am I getting my money's worth? This game does me so much justice, and especially as I grow older, as a father, as a career man, like, there's these things that are nice to have in a video game, and I feel like Guild Wars 2 really hits that on the head. All over the place, but the most important thing you need to know about Guild Wars 2 in 2023 is that you will never feel like your time is wasted when playing this game. That you can have a life outside the video game, do what you need to, and then just unwind. You can go and take a break for 4 years, come back, and you're gonna pick up right where you left off. Right at that very spot. And you usually don't have to do it by hitting the bank account. 2023 is going to be a great year for Guild Wars 2, and I'm calling it now. If you are new to the game or just coming back and you're not quite sure which class you want to play, check this video out here, which is going to show you all 9 of the core professions in kind of a dramatic style. Stay caffeinated, folks.